Hey everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. This is At the Buzzer, and we're joined as always by Jack Tiernan. Jack, how you doing?
And I'm good, thanks, man. How are you?
Doing quite well. Excited to, well, quite frankly, I'm excited to talk shit about Kyrie Irving. Let's not beat around the bush here.
Isn't
Uh, obviously COVID is a big deal for the country, of course, and also for the NBA. Where we're standing, the NBA players aren't required to be vaccinated, even though everyone else in the league is required to be vaccinated, just not the players. Most players are vaccinated. I want to make that perfectly clear. It's like 99.9% of the players are vaccinated, ready to go. But we talked previously about some players who weren't about that life, and Kyrie Irving is really not about that life and could see some actual blowback. Jack, what do we got here?
And Kyrie Irving is definitely not about that life. And as proven in the last couple of weeks, we found out that Andrew Wiggins actually is about the shot life. So he is now good to go for Golden State.
That's good.
But his
Definitely for them.
popular, yeah, it is great for them because they need him.
Yep.
And speaking of teams that probably need their players a lot, the Brooklyn Nets are going to be without Kyrie Irving for the foreseeable future, basically, until he decides to get the stab. So I don't know what that means for them. They basically, I was reading a couple articles on it earlier. Steve Nash basically was like, yeah, it's not easy, but like we're okay with it. We can make peace with it. And
Steve
I
Nash
think
was
it's
like, listen, I think we all know if I say anything, this will spiral completely out of control. So I am not
Kyrie
going to
will
say
retire.
anything. Yep.
No, yeah, I mean, Kyrie's gonna retire if anything goes wrong. He said earlier if he got traded, he would retire. If he has to get the vaccine, he'll probably retire. He's just one of the most like fake woke people in the NBA, frankly, and it's just here we are. So
He's just incredibly, like, I think we talked about it before. He's contrarian to the point of just being, like, kind of a dick, right?
he's a
Like,
contrarian without a cause. Yeah,
yeah.
he. What are you doing this for? Like just your own ego? Like I don't quite understand.
No, I don't understand. I don't know if he knows what he's doing. He's just shooting from the hip. Uh, it's been a very interesting like fall from grace for Kyrie Irving. Like you think of that moment when he hit the game-winning shot to give Cleveland a championship. From that moment to now, it's just like how people view Kyrie Irving is just completely
Complete
nosedived.
180.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good, and it's just because like maybe it is how the media portrays him, whatever, blah. But I think now you're at the point where like that's normally a concern for people, like oh the media doesn't portray Kevin Durant very well, right? But then you look at Kyrie, and it's like yeah, the media doesn't portray him well, but he also really brings it upon himself, right? Like he makes these choices and says these things. Like I think about one of his first games as a Bostonian, right?
Mm.
And he's like fuck off at reporters, right? Like it's just the dude like is not. I don't know. He's soft, you know. He
Yeah.
belongs with Kevin Durant, frankly, but it's just he
Yeah.
can't take criticism and he will not listen to anyone else's opinion but his own. So it's just kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
how do you
What do
deal
you
with this
do?
guy,
Yeah, what do you do? And
right?
what can the Nets do right now? Like Harden and Durant need to like sit him down and be like, "Yo, you need to take the shot because there are like five teams in the league probably as good as us. Like we need all three of us to potentially win a championship here, right? Like I don't know what's gonna take, but this is disappointing to say the least. Though not surprising.
It is. It's not surprising. I would love to see behind closed doors what KD and Harden actually think about this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because essentially, Kyrie was the one who, when he was talking to KD, right, when they were free agents, and he said, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's both go to New York," and it was the Knicks at that point.
Right.
And then he was like, "Yeah, I really want to go to the Knicks," and Kyrie's like, "Well, I just signed with the Nets, so either
Yeah.
you're coming here or you're not." So, and now
Oh,
he does
okay.
that. KD's like, "Oh, all right, I don't really have a choice, I guess."
Mm.
Um, so he does that, and now Kyrie basically is like, "Yeah, like I don't really want to do this anymore." So you gotta, if you're KD, you gotta feel slighted, and I almost feel for the guy to be honest with you. Like he
Mm.
agreed to team up with this guy. Granted, he's got Harden now too, I guess his
Yeah.
old teammate from OKC, but
You just gotta
it's
get
not
Russell Westbrook from LA, and we can just reunite that
the
big three.
OKC part two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. It was if there was if we swapped out actually even right now, it's a lot of like Celtics hopeful players on the Nets, right? Because there were always was speculation about Harden, and then KD almost signed with us over at Golden State, which a lot of people forget about. I still hold on to that.
Don't remind me.
I know I'm not sad or anything. I'm not crying about it, but I definitely cry myself to sleep about it every night. And I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems like I would not want Kyrie anywhere around my team. And if you had asked me that 4 or 5 years ago, I probably would have said like keep him forever. Like you said, that fall from grace is unbelievable.
I remember the day the day after he got traded. I was working in Boston, walking off the train. There was a bus with the new NBA 2K game. He was on the cover, and I was like, "That's our fucking guy right there." Like, we got that guy now. Like, we're gonna definitely be competitive and maybe win a championship. Especially when there was like Gordon Hayward and Kyrie coming. I was like, no doubt, we're gonna win a championship.
Right. Those two plus Al, plus at that point we didn't really know what we had in Jaylen Brown and Tatum, but like we didn't even have Tatum yet actually, or we did, but he was just drafted. But even still, like we had no clue what we had. So now, man, if Kyrie was like less of a psycho and still on the Celtics, I would die to see what we would be doing right now.
Yeah, no, because he is very talented, but I think at this point, like the Nets can't even trade him. Like he's just completely like
untradeable.
Yeah. And it sucks. It sucks. But, all right, well, let's segue to the Celtics. We get some COVID trouble of our own, despite vaccinations.
Ironically.
Yeah. So what do we got going?
Oh, that's not great. But we have Jaylen Brown last week, or later. No, earlier this week? I don't know. Anyway, he got COVID. Which is not great because we all love JB. He's one of the focal points on that offense, aside from Tatum, essentially, probably your number one guy, aside from Tatum.
Yeah.
And then now, as of today, Al Horford has COVID. So Celtics are kind of like, okay, like a little bit of a mini COVID outbreak coming here.
Yeah.
And I know Al has the shot. I'm not sure about JB. But I feel like we would have heard it if he did not have it by now.
Because he definitely participated in media stuff, and I feel like you couldn't do that if you didn't have the shot. So hopefully the shot works as intended. They get COVID, but they're not too sick from it, and they'll be able to come back in short order. But yeah, not great when the season's literally about to start.
No, I agree, and I mean, the good news is Jaylen will probably be out of quarantine by the time the season starts, or very close to it, so he might miss 1 or 2 games. But I think Al's going to be out for a little bit. So we're going to rely on Rob Williams, assuming he doesn't get COVID, knock on wood, to hold down that center position, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't like the way that's trending, though. If it was just JB, one isolated case, sure, whatever. But now it's spread to Al, who's been around the team for the last couple of days. And now it's like, oh, now he has COVID. So it's like, okay, who else is going to get this?
Yeah, and it's so hard, especially NBA locker room. You're all very close. You're fucking playing. You're practicing together, breathing hard on one another. It's tough if one person gets it to not have everyone get it. So
surprised Marcus Smart doesn't have it because he's all over the place. He's probably one of the biggest hustlers out there. Again, knock on wood, hope he doesn't get it.
Right.
But I probably just jinxed him. So if we find out the next couple of days, it's my fault. Marcus, my bad.
Man.
But yeah, I think I would like to see everybody back and healthy for the start of the season, but I'm getting increasingly unsure if that's going to happen or not.
Yeah, we'll see, and we'll of course be monitoring it as it goes along. Any other COVID talk you want to get into?
Man, I hope not. I don't think so, really. I don't know. Like you said, I think 99.9% of the league probably has their shots by now. I don't know about Michael Porter Jr. I want to check in on him because I know he was a notable anti-vax guy for a while. But, I hope that nobody is, really derailed from COVID. But...
Yeah, we want fun, competitive basketball with no one having to miss time because of this. So
yeah, it's the same as you don't wish an injury on somebody. It's the same thing. So because you don't know what COVID can do to you long term. So fingers crossed that everybody's good. Hopefully it stays as good as possible for as long as possible. We don't lose anyone big over it.
Exactly. So yeah, anyone listening who hasn't gotten your shot, get your shot. go out there.
Do it.
I was got the booster, so I'm immunocompromised. So if I've seemed draggy in the two that we filmed, that is why I am very tired.
Oof. Noted.
All right, Jack. Where can they find you online?
Best place to find me is Twitter, and that's at Jack_Tiernan. I've got Celtic stuff coming up, especially as we start the regular season, and Red Sox, of course.
Awesome. So follow him there. You can follow me on Twitter at TheFakeBumar. It's BMARR. Channels on Twitter at Wicked Good Sport or at WG Everything. Instagram, Wicked Good Everything. Twitch at twitch.tv/Wicked Everything. On TikTok as well. Search Wicked Good Everything, and soon search Wicked Good Sport. I'll include like a link in the description once that gets all set up. So yeah, follow us in all those places. Jack, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Brian. You too.
And we will see you all in the next one.